Woof. That's all I gotta say. I did predict a sweep this weekend. Unfortunately, it was the incorrect team. I was sold on a bill of goods. I'm gonna defend myself, and I'm gonna say I was sold on a bill of goods between the series of the Twins and the Mets. I was feeling really good on Friday night in the eighth inning. Again, I texted you, "Is Jax gonna blow this?" Before anyone was on base. Maybe I need to stop doing that. Maybe I'm the reason for Griffin Jax. Maybe I should take accountability. I'm willing to go into the media room right now and fall on that sword for this team just to give Jax his confidence back. I'm sorry. And maybe I need to start talking bad about Julian again because there's too many things happening when I say something it goes the other way. So um, this weekend, Twins get swept. Jax blows a game in the ninth or the eighth in the on the Friday night game. Saturday game, they lose by a run. They push Sale early in the game, but overall the offense can't score. And then on Sunday, Joe Ryan kind of lays an egg. So far this season, the Twins are 0-13 when the opposing team scores four or more runs. Overall, this has been a really, really brutal stretch of Twins baseball. They're now 7-15 in the season. We were looking at their next two series against the White Sox and the Angels. We feel like if they can take 5 of 6, which isn't absurd, it isn't like this is the Yankees and Padres coming up, that they can at least save some sort of face. If they can't, well, I'm gonna start talking fire sale. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to talk in the first full month of baseball that you're talking about. Not necessarily this is it, but we have 9 games for the rest of the month, and it feels like you need to win 6 of the 9. And that doesn't even get you close to even 500, but it gets you at least to a reasonable spot where you can go into May and kind of start rethinking it. But it's tough because May is also a gauntlet of a schedule. Every single team we face is a potential playoff team, and we if we're playing baseball right now, we have no shot. We're be lucky to walk out of May with 10 wins.
I brought up with you the idea of firing Rocco as a scapegoat move, and then what you promote Jace Tingler, who couldn't manage the Padres correctly. Um, However, I want to throw a situation out to you, and I to further seek any kind of validation as me of a armchair manager of a baseball team. I sent you a text in the eighth inning when Jax, I think, had the bases loaded or maybe two on, and there's less than two out, and the game was tied, and Rocco called in Cole Sands. I texted you, why not throw Duran in? It's your best pitcher, and you need to get out of this. This is in my that at that point in that game, that was the equivalent of you're in the top of the 10th inning with the runner on second base. You throw in your closer if you haven't used your closer already to make sure that the opposing team doesn't score the run, right? What
Yep.
and we've talked about our bullpen rankings. Cole Sand is top three. There's no doubt. And I don't blame Cole Sands whatsoever. I think Cole Sands has had a really good start to the season overall. And he has the stuff to induce a double play with that splitter. However, you have an opportunity to beat the Braves, which by the way you haven't done since 2019. You've been 0-13 against the Braves since 2019, or sorry, 0-11. Why not? And I know past teams don't matter to this team. I get it, but you're in Atlanta. You have a chance to take the first game of a series. Throw the guy out there that is essentially the best pitcher on the whole on your whole entire staff. Do you disagree with that?
No, I did. Like I said, Rocco. I mean, he's got his analytics and his sheets, and I don't know what statisticians he was going off of, but he wanted to hold on to his closer, which I guess if you look back a couple episodes ago, we kind of dogged him on it for it, saying that he needs to hold his closer till the ninth more. So I don't
It's
know.
true.
It's playing the pros versus cons, and it's a managed decision. So I don't I won't go too much into that one, especially with Cole Sands. His stats leading up to that was, I mean, better than Griffin Jack's. That's for dang sure.
Yeah, right. Well, I totally get what you're saying. And to and hindsight is 2020. The only time Durant pitched at all this weekend happened to be in yesterday's game, which was completely out of hand anyway. So I just we look at the managing decisions, and that's why I texted you in advance before the result, just to seek any sort of validation from my personal decision of the way that the bullpen was used. And I think last episode we did talk about the way Josh Hader was used with Milwaukee when Milwaukee was a very competitive team. There's no reason, especially if you feel like this team's going to be a contender, that Duran doesn't get like 80 or 90 appearances, and maybe 50 of those, let's say, are save opportunities, but the other 40 are you're just throwing them out there every other day. And this feels the urgency to this season is starting to build bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm gonna move on to a different topic about this past series, and then we can kind of move on. On Friday, runners in scoring position, 2 for 10. On Saturday, 2 for 9. On Sunday, 1 for 8. Total, you were 5 for 27, a 185 batting average, and you left 21 runners on base. This team fired their hitting coach, and this is almost like the equivalent of when they fired their trainer like 3 years ago. And they're like, oh, there's been too many injuries. Let's blame it on the trainer. And then we brought the new trainer in, and guess what? Royce Lewis still can't get on the field. Alex Kirilloff has to retire. Uh, and now the scapegoat was the hitting coach. So we got Borg Schulte, uh, from David Popkins, and there's still, I see the team attempting to hit the ball the other way a lot more this season, and it seems like contact is more stressed this season than maybe prior seasons under this tenure of Rocco Baldelli or Derek Falvey. Overall, the results are almost the same as last year from August to now. Not a lot has changed. Do you see this offense getting any better? Or do you think this is bad luck, or is this becoming a trend that's going to stick throughout the whole entire season?
Well, I mean, we talked about episode one. We didn't spend any money. So we want to blame Rocco. And yeah, there's a little bit of that, the player usage and game situations. Okay. But at the same time, I think he's dealing with the hands he's dealt.
Yeah.
We didn't go get any explosive bats. Our current bats that we have are always hurt, inconsistent, or huge question marks. Um, so if you look at it, there's nothing that can be done and progressed from our current roster. I mean, bring up more talent. I mean, the only bright spot about the whole weekend was bringing up one of our top prospects, and well, he's now a big leaguer probably for a while because he looked awesome. He looked ready. He
Yeah.
actually provided a spark and
Hmm.
showed that hey, the Twins aren't just a bunch of old guys now. So it's good to see him come up, and I don't know if you bring up maybe Manuel Rodriguez now. I don't know if Castro's oblique is going to get any better if he has to go on the IL, but do something. You got to provide a spark somewhere, and I don't know if anyone in the clubhouse sparks anything.
It is amazing the collection of injuries on this team 21 games into the season. And the one that's avoided it all is Byron Buxton. And he's playing well. Uh, his
Yeah.
average isn't the greatest, but putting bat to ball, shagging center balls out in center field. Overall, at this point in the season, I can confidently say the bright spot has been Byron Buxton. Almost so bright that it might be time to talk about trade value. And we're talking about the outlook here against the White Sox and the Angels, 5 of 6 to salvage something. if you get swept by the Sox this week, and then you or lose 2 or 3, and then you get swept by the Angels or lose 2 or 3, I think it's a fair conversation. Dealing Ty France or Christian Vasquez isn't going to give you any sort of solid return.
No.
Byron Buxton healthy, the first time since 2017 healthy. This is an opportunity. This isn't the time for the typical Minnesota fan or the typical Minnesota team to say, "Hey, like one of our guys finally made it through a season, even though we are like the fourth worst team in baseball." This is an opportunity to sell high on a guy, i.e., Brian Dozier with the 40 home run season until it ended up being a 20 home run season. You got nothing for him. I I honestly feel like, and we can talk about this series coming up here, that if things go wrong, it's a fair conversation to have, and it may be some potential trade ideas that you and I can throw back and forth at each other to some contending teams in return for prospects, and we can talk about prospects. It's fun to watch Byron Buxton, and quite honestly, through all the injuries, I've really enjoyed watching him play baseball when he can play. But it might be time overall. What do you think?
You're not wrong. I mean, we talked about our outfield prospects coming up. I mean,
It's a lot of
Deshaun
fun.
Kiersey
Yeah.
provides that he can play. We have Emmanuel Rodriguez in the minors. I mean, we have 4 or 5 up and coming outfield prospects that are really high up on MLB's ranking lists. Um, so if you can get a good value back, I don't know what you want to look back in return. If you're looking for just a young prospect, we mentioned catcher, first baseman. Um, Shoot, even at this point, you maybe want to start thinking about other positions. Just like Correa might want to request trades. Who knows? We
Yeah.
told him we're going to spend money and contend, and now we re-signed him, and we haven't done that. A
With a
veteran
no
like
trade
that,
clause.
yeah. So he can come out and say if he wants it. So I don't. It's just I don't know what to. I don't know what you'd get back. You probably take one prospect, not a handful of like mediocre ones. See if we can go get a decent playoff team's number 2 guy in their system and just make the best of it. But yeah, you're right because he's our only like high spot. I mean, not our only one, but as far as our MVP right now, it's probably Byron Buxton. And if we're gonna be a 10-win team in the first month, it's time to start thinking about what your options are for the long term.
I had said to you before the episode that the Twins' odds of winning the World Series, and that's kind of even funny to say out loud, are equal to the Rockies and the White Sox at this point in the season. So either you're a diehard fan and you believe Royce Lewis coming back is going to net the team to 35 games above 500 for the remainder of the season to get to 90 wins and sneak in either with an AL Central win if the Guardians don't get hot like they usually do, or a wild card spot. So you could, buy low on that overall odds and maybe make some good money, or you can go with, the odds makers who make these odds for a living and make money and just say, hey, let's sell. And it's something else to think about is Duran's got 3 years left of team control. Ryan has 3 years left of team control. However, does this team look like a World Series team in the next 3 years? I don't believe so. It might be time just to sell. And it's so sad to say that on April 21st into the baseball season. We're literally 22 games into the season, and it looks so bad. The fielding is so poor. Um, Ty France at first base, diving in front of Eddie Julian on Friday night for that. It was an out. It was 100% an out if they understood each other's positioning on the infield. And it's really hard to watch. And when you are winless, when the opposing team scores 4 or more runs, you need fielding so badly. You need it so badly. We talked about it, fielding and speed. If you can lean into those things, great. On over to Keishel. How fun. So fun to watch young blood enter into the major leagues and be successful at it right away. There are too many times where you see a young prospect come up to the big leagues and struggle for their first 100 games, get sent back down, then have to come back up, like Jackson Holiday. Just one example. I remember the Twins didn't ever trade Aaron Hicks, for Cliff Lee because we felt like Aaron Hicks was going to be the guy, and it never turned out that way. So I'm hoping for Keishel to continue his success. The athleticism overall is fun also. Uh, he's not the fastest guy in the world, but he can move. He can actually run. I mean,
Yep.
how encouraging was that to watch? I don't know if I've really seen a Twins player run other than Bader and Buxton and Kiersey at this point into the season. So those things are nice. Tuesday night you got Ober. Wednesday night you got Festa, and it looks like right now Thursday night is to be determined.
Yep.
You know, I didn't look too much into that. Do you know
I
why?
don't either. I don't know if they're gonna. I know they missed or messed up the rotation a little bit when they brought up Festa,
Yeah.
and I don't know if there's an undisclosed sore arm somewhere in the starting rotation. But as far as I know, it should be Paddock.
Okay.
But who knows what they have planned, or maybe they just didn't get that far in advance yet. Who knows with that? But yeah, as of now, I mean, and like I said, we talked about this last episode. I'm unfortunately still going to watch the Twins tomorrow,
Oh yeah, me too.
and I really want to see. This is the time you need to get Festa into the sixth.
Yes.
This is when you need to get all of our pitchers into the sixth,
Yeah,
and
for
just
sure.
let the starters kind of get out of their own issues, and you might see the pitch count maybe get elevated just a little bit, but we'll see this week. I mean, as far as weather wise, it should be okay. It's going to be a little warmer than it was their last homestand, so their arms should be loose. They're well into the season enough now where you can kind of let them eat a couple innings.
Yeah. Looking at the upcoming series here, so you got three against Chicago at home. You got three against the Angels for the weekend at home. Which, by the way, before we go any further, what's your guess for attendance for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday's game against the White Sox? Give me a number. Let's play this game.
Tuesday, Wednesday, a bit more. They're at least evening games. I think they're
Yeah.
6:40.
Yep.
Um, but I don't know because with our attendance ratings this season, they're going to be 10,000 if we're lucky, 8,000.
Yeah, and they're not accounting for those tickets that have already been sold way, way beforehand of those people that don't actually go. So I wonder what the physical count will be at the ballpark. Fans are really making a statement. They were making a statement last year when the whole cable thing happened, and then they finally get put back on cable and they struggle. And then the owners say they're going to sell a team. They don't sell the team. They say we want this, but we're 500 million in debt, and fans aren't coming out. They're making a statement. I can't say I blame them. I'm sorry, but I can't. I can't say I blame them. I'm gonna say I'm gonna go with you. We'll say 10,000 on Tuesday and Wednesday. On Thursday, if they lose those first two games on Tuesday and Wednesday, I think the Thursday game will be 6,000. Firmly believe it. You don't have Pablo on the mound for that day, or maybe you do. Maybe that's why it's to be determined. Maybe Pablo's coming back and they haven't announced it yet. But what it looks like is they might do an opener, or they might call up Zebby Matthews or one of the AAA pitchers and pitch that Thursday game. So okay, outlook on the upcoming series. You got the White Sox for 3 at home. You got the Angels for 3 at home over the weekend. Angels are playing good ball this season so far, and Trout's been healthy, which has also been really fun for the first time in years. So kudos to him. He's such a fun player to watch. I hope he stays healthy. And it'd be cool just to watch the Angels be successful again. It's been too many years watching them kind of flounder. And then you got the Guardians for the next 4 at Cleveland, no less. What my overall prediction for those games, those next 10 games, is 4-6. Believe the team, if they want to keep any kind of relevance, should be 7-3. But I just don't see it. Um, the Cleveland series is going to be pivotal. And it's funny that it's an April series for, 3 of the 4 are an April series, but if you can't split with Cleveland, there's no way. There's just no way. Where do you see this team's record over the next 10 games that would make you say to yourself, so we're meeting on Friday morning or Thursday night on May 1st to talk about the Cleveland series. What record would you say over these next 10 would make you say, okay, maybe they have something here?
I think I think they're either going to go 4-6 or 6-4. Um, and the biggest one of that is this next upcoming series. If we can, because I think we could still sweep them. I know we're kind of talking bad baseball with the Twins. That's fair, but it's the White Sox. You have to put this team away. If they lose 2 out of 3 out of this, they'll lose. Then I said 4-6. But there's a real chance that we should win 2, if not sweep them. Then you get to think win 2 against the Angels. If you can squeak out 2, okay, you're at 5 wins right there out of 6 games. Then the next 4, like you said, if you split them, it's like, okay, that's 6, 7 wins in there.
Yeah.
That makes me going into May a lot better of a feeling. We won't be 500, but it's at least starting to show promise and competitiveness. If we lose White Sox 2 out of 3, the Angels 2 out of 3, then we're going to lose 3-4 out of Cleveland. Then we really got to have that talk about fire sale and what can we do, or what as fans do you want to see the organization take?
Yeah.
Because you can't keep playing this mediocre baseball with owners that don't want to pay money for a whole season. Something has to change. You have to start making moves. If you start with the record that we have, trading away key plays people to get prospects for next year, the year down the road, okay, I see where the team is going. Playing significantly bottom 4 baseball and not making any moves is terrible. It is. I feel like an A's fan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only they actually do. They actually make trades. They just trade away their best players for popcorn and hot dogs. So
Stem's been so great this season so far.
Yeah, he's good. He'll probably get traded for a used van next week.
And by the way, that used van will, when they join the A's, will probably have like a sub-3 ERA for the remainder of the season. On top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my prediction for the upcoming series is the Twins take 2 of 3. I swear, if they lose this series, I am no longer predicting any series wins for the rest of the season. They could be playing against the Rockies later this season, and the Rockies are missing all of their starters, and I'm still going to predict the Rockies to take 2 of 3 from the Twins. There's no reason. Like you said, they're at home. They've got Ober on the mound tomorrow. Festa, make them pitch 6 innings. Do it. Just push it. Push them. What do you have to lose at this point? You have nothing to lose. And just go out and play some fundamental baseball. And for Christ's sakes, if the White Sox score 4 runs, score 5. We're not asking a whole lot here. String together some hits and score some runs. So, what do you got? What's your final word?
Final word. I'm gonna say that our starters actually have the best series yet.
Okay.
I think that yeah, I think Ober's gonna come out. He's gonna shove 3 innings, and I think finally we're gonna see the true like potential of Festa and actually pitch 6, 7 innings. He might give up 1 or 2 runs, and that's fine. And I want to see him battle in a tough scenario one time.
It would be nice to watch him get into some sort of jam in the 4th or the 5th with 2 runners on, 1 out. Okay, let's see. Let's see what happens. If we're not going to throw our closer in when it's a dire situation in the 8th inning on a Friday night in Atlanta, then let's see what our young guys can do in a dire situation in a either noon game or a an early evening game against the White Sox in the middle
Yep.
of the week with 8,000 people in the stands, if that. So, well, you heard it here first. It sounds like 2 of 3 is what we're predicting. We'll get back
Yep.
to you on Thursday night, Friday morning with how that resulted. We'll talk Angel series, Cleveland series coming up. Hit the like, subscribe button, leave us a comment, give us some feedback. We'd love to hear it. North Star Sports Media, thank you for tuning in.